Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everyone. This is your co-host, Kelly, and I'm here to introduce our creator, Jonathan. And
Hello.
we are part of Life, Laughter, Happiness. And Barbara, our other co-host. Are you there, Barbara?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, everybody.
Hi. And, of
Hi
course,
there.
we have Karen.
Yay!
Karen.
Hey.
And
I'm
tonight,
so glad I didn't hear anyone go, her again?
yeah, let me just have you on. Yeah, no.
Spotlight
We
on
aren't
Karen.
taking- No, yeah. We
You
aren't
guys are
taking
so
any
sweet.
callers. We're not taking callers for any psychic night because this night is devoted to learning about Karen. So I'm going to hand it over to Barbara to lead us in the interviewing of Karen, our special guest that does our psychic night.
Oh, that would be wonderful. So does this mean I get to have the first question? Because I have a burning question.
Yes,
I thought
you
about
do.
it all day. Okay.
Take it away,
I thought about
Barbara.
this. We're going to get into a little later about you when you were a little girl and all that. But my burning question that I thought about all day was, since you did work on so many cases, murder cases, all those cases with the police, how did that come about? How did the police know to call Karen Page? We would know, but how did they know?
Oh, that's so funny. They found me. One day they just contacted me and said, "Hi, there." I had read for a woman detective and her partner. And then a little while later, a few weeks later, they contacted me about the Hillside Strangler case.
Wow.
And they came over, and first she called me. She was really nice. First she called me and said, we'd like to talk to you about a case. Do you have time? And I said, of course. Are you kidding? Of course. So the two of them came over, and they started to bring photographs of the girls, and I said, I don't want to see those. And I described both of the men and that they were related but not brothers, and the van and all that other stuff. I mean, it was weird, you know, and they were very lovely to work with, really lovely to work with.
Did all of that come to you crystal clear?
Oh, yeah,
say,
crystal clear, and I made sure they recorded all of it.
Right.
And it is, and I've worked with them repeatedly over the years on, God, hundreds of cases.
Well, that one case, though, that helped lead them to solve it, correct?
Yes, it did. They thought it in the very beginning I was crazy because I was the first psychic after Peter Hurkos that had ever really worked with the police.
Wow.
Peter had done the Boston Strangler case, and he and I had become very dear friends, and I read for several, detectives and police officers and law enforcement people, but I had never said to them, hi, pick me, I mean, it was like, and they called me. And then I worked on the Houston slasher case. They were almost back to back, the two of them.
Wow. Well, so it goes to show you never know when you give somebody a reading what that's going to lead to. So that was really great.
Oh, absolutely true.
You could have said,
Absolutely.
I'm not into it, but you're a strong woman, obviously,
Oh,
to
I
be
would
able
never
to
do
handle that.
I wouldn't do that because all I can think of is the families.
They needed you.
Well, it wasn't. It's not that. It's they deserve to have answers. And why and who and where, and I mean, it's heartbreaking. And some of the cases there are, a lot of it depends on the detectives that are thankfully more willing now to be open working with us. But they were not for many years.
They don't seem to advertise it much, do they? And when
no.
they're solving,
and I don't blame them.
Talking, because people, they aren't believing. But if they did advertise it, if they did say, look, okay, here's the team that helped to solve this and included you, and announced that, maybe more people would be believers.
Well, but you know what? I always remember how, I'm trying to say this nicely, in the very beginning, they were pretty disrespectful, and I understand that because they were being paid whatever the amount of money was a year to do this awful job, and I would not take money to work on murder cases or missing children cases or any of those because I would never take a dime to work on a murder case or missing child case. I have no interest in that.
That is kind, isn't it?
Oh, you know what? That's part of my agreement with God, and it's not negotiable. I don't want to be paid. I would never accept any money for it, and it's just that's one of the ways I can give back.
Well, you were given a very big gift from God, and that
Absolutely.
is basically your gift back. That's wonderful.
Well, that's something that I think people make a decision about early on in the work. And I had been approached about, I've done a lot of television stuff, and I was approached to do television. And I developed a show, created a show called Psychic Detectives. Only I didn't want to be on the show. I wanted it to be for the readers that is what they want people to know that they do. And I thought if it can touch one person's life and help them.
Was it a reality based or a scripted?
It was, yes. It was on the air for quite a while. And I had no interest in, I didn't want to profit from it. I didn't want my name associated with it, but I created that show. And what, honey?
You've done a lot in show business that a lot of people do know about, but some don't. And you've worked with a lot of musicians, haven't you?
Yes, I was
really
in the music business in management. Mhm.
And why did you get involved in that? Do you like music? Were you a singer? How did that all evolve?
That is the last thing anyone would want me to do. You know how I always say leave it to the experts? That would not be one of my specialties.
Me neither.
It's like, I sing best in the car, by myself to the radio, and in the shower. It's like, that's pretty funny.
Too.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, don't want me doing that.
But you got involved in the music industry.
Yes,
That's
because I was reading for the heads of of all the major labels, and two of the guys said to me, you have the best ears in the business, and you really should manage. You should go into management. And I found Diane Warren. She was ours.
Wow.
Yep. What a
And
talented girl.
Your
And
own music company.
No. I had a partner. I had a business partner. She was in entertainment management, but the head of one of the major labels called her and said, you need to meet this girl, and he introduced her to me, and she came for a reading in the beginning. And when I told her that her boyfriend that they had broken up, was going to be coming back to Los Angeles, and he would be on a flight from, and I told her where it was and what the airline was.
Wow.
And that he would say, I'm going to be in and I picked the date and the time, and that he would call and tell her, and that is exactly to the letter what happened.
Wow.
Then she called me and said, I have to. She literally showed up at my front door, and I said, did you have an appointment? It was like, she said, no, I came to talk to you about something else. I said, okay, what would that be? And she sat down and told me that, she finally believed me, and she finally believed the head of the record company. And that's how I wound up. And would I please become her partner?
Wow. Another
And it was
open.
like, wow, that would be interesting. So we had, my favorite part is that I had a reading office in our management company offices where my clients would come, and
wow.
I would do their readings.
Oh, just an extra little perk when you're around Karen.
Well, it was definitely. I can say we probably were the only ones that did have a psychic reading room in our office.
I would say so.
Isn't that funny?
So how long were you involved with that?
Well, let's see. We co-managed England Dan and John Ford Coley and Seals and Crofts. And we managed Laura Branigan.
I love her.
Yeah, she left way too young, honey. And it was, gosh, a whole bunch of years. And then one day, when one of the lovely heads of the record company called me and took out on me what I had absolutely nothing to do with. We weren't even involved with the act he was referring to. It was kind of like, I think I'm done here. And I stood up, and that was the end of it. And I said, I'm done. And she said, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. I said, no, dear, you can have all of it. I'm done.
Wow.
And she said, what does that mean? I said, I have the loveliest clients in the world, and I have no problem accepting responsibility when I have done something wrong or made a mistake, or I don't have any problem with saying I'm sorry and let's work it through, okay? How can I make this better? But becoming the constant target, and because I'm nice, and he knew that I liked them. We were friends, but I had nothing to do with the act that he was carrying on about and taking it out on me. And it was like, what are you doing? And it had happened several times, and it was like, which part of this does anyone think is okay?
finally somebody stood up to him and just said, I'm not putting up with
Yeah. Yeah, and we were still friends afterwards for many, many years. But and he got it. I mean, he understood completely why I just said no, I'm not doing this. I'm
Well,
done.
hopefully he learned a lesson. Hopefully he learned something from that.
I hope he did, and he had a gigantic career. He really was brilliantly talented with helping artists. And but sometimes people are just grumpy and need to misplace their stuff, and it's like,
Yes. A lot of producers
I have a
are like that
question.
too. It becomes kind of abusive.
Well, it's a
Definitely.
very, very stressful job. Anything in the music industry is. What did you want to ask, Jonathan?
Well, I'm curious. Like when you talk to someone who's a musician, are you usually able to tell that they're talented before you hear them sing because you're psychic?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Good question.
I mean, when Diane, nobody would even talk to her. And it's like, how in the world would you know she was this amazing songwriter? She didn't sing. She had no interest in, she wasn't like Carole King that wanted to write and produce her own music. She really, you talk about a God-given gift. She definitely was a born writer, songwriter. And when I met her, I knew that she was incredibly talented. And that's something that you can't really explain to anyone, where that knowing comes from. I always say to people, you know what you know. Like you know what color your eyes are.
That's
right. And it's something that is, I cherish what I do. And I thank God every day for my gift.
Wow. Karen, I just want you to say to the listeners, because actually I'm not really sure about this now that I think about it, but did your mom have the gift too?
Oh, that's so funny. Yes. However, my mother grew up where as a florist, my grandparents had 6 flower shops in New York City, and did all the flowers for the Catholic Archdiocese of New York. And this is going to sound really funny, but in those days it wasn't exactly a career choice. It's like,
it was hard work, I'm sure.
Oh my God! But I wanted to be a lawyer. To put the bad guys away, and God saved me from myself and gave me this extraordinary gift. But my mother had the gift, and my sister was a reader. My mother's 2 best friends were readers. It was very normal. I thought, and you guys can all laugh when I say this, I thought I was the normal one in the family.
Oh, wow.
I just didn't hear God laugh at the time. I thought that.
So it's safe to say that it's hereditary, because I
No, honey, no.
Okay,
everybody,
different.
it's not hereditary. Okay, it's
it
not
can
something
be,
like
but it's
no,
not always.
No, it's not hereditary at all, because hereditary is genetic. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the difference. It is, so it's not hereditary. It just was something that we shared in common. My mother didn't consider herself psychic. She didn't consider herself psychic.
But you knew.
Oh, she had crazy intuition.
Wow.
I mean, it was astounding.
How
but
good was your sister? How powerful was your sister's gift?
Well, the difference with my sister was all my sister ever saw were negative things.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, it's true. And
too bad.
Yeah, it really was. And I tried to help her. She read tarot cards, but not only I see negative things with people, but there is a way to express those and to see a solution for them if there is one, which
that's right.
That's what I do. But she
which is
would
the
just
counselor, in your title.
It's absolutely true. That's why from day one my business cards have always said psychic counseling. And it is because it literally is every conceivable type of business or industry, or it's amazing. And no two people's lives are alike. And we all go through difficulty in our lives. Or what I always call the adult growing pains part of the program. But there are always ways to work with it. It doesn't mean you can fix it. I don't mean avoiding it. I'm talking about being able to learn what are you supposed to learn through this experience. What is the lesson? So that when you come through it, and I've said this to you, we've all had losses in our lives. And unfortunately, that is part of the human experience. But it is, what do you do with those losses? What do you do with those lessons? How do you learn to integrate those losses into our everyday life? And disappointments and people betraying us and all those. There's a laundry list of things.
I like your approach. You always find the positive way. And like you said, how can I help them with the truth?
Yes.
And that's so wonderful, especially for our show.
I think that is really the critical part, because I have the Karen. It's funny, I talk about it in my book, the Karen Page's 20 to 40% rule. 20 to 40% of what goes on in your life is going to happen. Those things are fated. They're going to happen. That's on God's list for you when you come in. That's your journey. It does, and the other 60 to 80%, I always say it's the Burger King way. You can have it your way. God doesn't care how you get there. Take that job, date that person, go on that trip, move to that place. None of those things are going to change you learning that lesson. And those 20 to 40% are going to happen no matter what you do. There is no avoiding it. It's part of the journey.
Well, I really like that, because
it's true.
They would say, "Oh, well, if it's already going to happen, then why should I even work on myself?" Well, we work on ourselves so that when it happens, we can enjoy. If we are open and positive, and our heart and our intentions are in the right place, we're going to be able to enjoy all those wonderful things. All intentions, and the bad, then we'll know what we.
But bad is relative. Bad is a relative term. I think that yes, there are painful losses that we all go through, and disappointments and betrayals and all of those things. Fill in the blank. However, it doesn't mean those things need to define your life. Did you learn anything from it?
That's the key.
Yes, it is the key. Are you going, there are lots of us that had very complicated childhoods. And did we learn anything from them? Or are we still angry and hanging on to them?
can be so detrimental.
Oh, detrimental. It can rule your whole life, and yikes. That sounds pretty painful, you know. And we've all known those people, and a lot of us still know those people. I'm sorry you had a crappy childhood. I'm sorry that you came from an abusive home. I'm sorry that your mother, father, brother, uncle, grandfather, pick one, okay, was grumpy and mean and non-supportive. What are you going to do with that experience? Are you going to continue choosing people that reinforce that? Or are you going to learn exactly what you won't give permission to in your life?
That's right. I think a big part of getting psychic counseling isn't just, tell me what's going to happen, or do you see this happening, that happening. It's another big part is you see what they have gone through. You know, you can feel it. And just for them to know that they're not alone, that you understand, I mean, how powerful is that? That's probably very powerful.
You know what the difference is that I've found for the way I read? For me, it literally is like stepping into their life and being next to them, standing next to them. And for me, it literally is like being there. It's not only.
I want to know how has that been? I mean, Karen, you're an amazing woman because you've never
thank you,
alluded to at all that, this has been too much. This is so, because you're living your own life, which is full of stuff that is intense. And then now you're standing by somebody on a daily basis with your readings, feeling all of their stuff.
You know what, though?
I mean, how did you deal with that?
Because I'm very clear about what is mine and what is not mine. I can't take it off of them. I always laugh when someone's trying to sell a $350 candle, that you can buy downtown for 60 cents. It drives me crazy. There is no magic oil that's going to fix it, or incense, or any of that. None of us come with a magic wand, and we're all only human. And God gives all of us different gifts. And I realize that I know my human limitations. And I can be there for people, but I can help them help themselves, but I can't take it away, their experience, because then it defies why God gave that to them, and I just work here. I'm very clear about that.
That's right. Well, you say that you've been doing this since you were 10.
10 and a half years old. I scared myself.
Okay.
I scared myself when I saw that when I was 11 and a half, I filed my first tax return. It's like, that's not possible. That means I was
awesome.
Like, what? Isn't that hilarious?
Do you remember the first? I mean, was the first one like a scheduled thing, or was the first one maybe a family member?
Oh, no, I remember very clear. I remember very clearly what it was. There were two very specific things. When I was about, I want to say 6, I was standing at the window. We had one of those big, pretty bay windows. And I was looking out the window, and I said, Mommy, do you know Mr. and I won't say the name because it's a very distinct name, but they were our across-the-street neighbors. I said, do you know he beats his wife? And my mother came up to me and said, oh, sweetheart, that's a terrible thing to say. Don't say that, honey. And I looked at her and I said, but, Mommy, it's true. And 2 or 3 weeks later, there were 2 police cars and an ambulance across the street. the ambulance, of course, took her, and the police car took the two kids and and arrested him.
Wow.
And the second thing, I'm sorry. Go ahead, honey. I'll tell you what that is. It's not going away. It's part of my life, so it's not going anywhere. Go ahead, and what's the question, Jonathan?
Well, now this is one thing. I know you lost lots of friends on 9/11, but on the day before 9/11, did you feel anything?
Sweetheart, I had warned everybody that, and the exact prediction was terror is going to come to our shores.
Wow.
And everybody thought I had lost my mind because I was born here, I was raised here, I've been very blessed to live all over the world, but I am not under any illusion that we are immune to the realities of life. And everybody thought I was completely crazy, and the words, "That is never going to happen, Karen." I must have heard that 150 times. And it's like, I used to say to my mom, when I die, they're going to put on my headstone, "Wait, you'll see." And unfortunately, that is exactly what happened. And it's heartbreaking.
When people did say that to you, yes, it definitely was and is. But when people would say that to you, how exactly would you react?
I'm not arguing with anybody or trying to convince somebody of what I see. I know what I see.
So you would just go on your way?
Yeah, because I've already said it. It's out there. I'm not trying to take it back. I had said it on television and in interviews, and so when it happened, I was not the least bit surprised. And arguing with somebody, I'm not trying to convince somebody I'm psychic.
Exactly.
I know, and God knows my intentions, and I've always said I'll do this work as long as God wants me to, and if God wants me to be a house painter, I'll be at Home Depot buying brushes in the morning. And this,
I don't see you arguing at all. I don't see it.
Oh, no.
But I'm wondering, did you feel frustration? Did you just think, oh,
no,
gosh, I
because,
wish somebody would listen to me? Is there something you could do about it?
No, sweetheart, because I am only human, and I realize my limitations. I had no power in this. There was nothing I could do to fix it or change it.
I mean, you knew that there was nothing you could do.
Yes, but I was going to warn as many people as I could.
It would be nice if they took the warning, heeded the warning, and didn't go up. I mean, how specific were you on the date
Very.
of it? I mean,
well, not the date, but I told them it is going to be on the East Coast, and it is going to be something that will change the course of the world. And I would say that... We need to go
find those interviews. We need to find those interviews. And
we can find them.
I would really like it if we could expose this more, and someday the world is changing and people are more accepting
dramatically
of this, to where you could put up alerts. You can
well
warn.
you know what part of the issue is there are people that how do I say this nicely? Not everybody shares my intentions. I'm very clear that my work has very little to do with me. I'm just a conduit. And there are a lot of people that will, pound their chest and, do you know who I am? And I told you. And I have never said to somebody, I told you so, because that's not who I am. And it is something those are the lessons that we all have to grow and learn. is to, you do the best you can. And I don't have a single complaint in this life, honey. I wish I could have had a magic wand and could have changed it, but I don't. That's not part of the package, And it is people sometimes can't get their ego out of the way. I worked with a lot of police departments that they would treat me like I was a circus clown.
Oh, wow.
And no, it's okay.
It's okay because you know who you are so
yes,
well, and you're
absolutely.
So good,
and I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody.
I get it, but it's just too bad that they had to act that way.
You know what? And I'm sorry, but it's like anything that people don't understand. And back in those days, it was something that was incredibly different. It's like you can't see it. It's not tangible. You can't feel it. I look relatively normal, whatever the heck that means, except for my 3-inch fingernails,
Oh, I love it. Yeah, but Karen, it doesn't matter anyway because somebody had you there, and I'm sure they were quite high up in the police department.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So somebody was believing in you. That's why you were there. The proof is in the
Well,
pudding.
the people that had contact, that had been to me for readings, they were the ones that actually opened the door for the detectives and brought it up to them. And when I worked on the Houston slasher case, again, it was a detective that was sent to me that came for a reading. And she said to me, we have a strange case here. Do you think you could help us? I'd love to have my partners come and talk to you. And I was like, sure.
And were they very respectful? I mean, there must have been some really nice.
Oh, no, sweetheart. No. Oh, no.
Anybody?
Guys, this is in the very, very beginning of working with them. And this guy, it's so funny. The one in Houston looked like the big belly sheriff.
Yeah.
And he came strolling in, and there was a guy behind him that had literally hip-to-shoulder files. Okay? I mean, there were like a half a dozen people in my apartment connected to this, and I thought to myself, well, this is going to be interesting. I had no idea what it was. And it was this Houston slasher case, and I said to him, do you have any, did you bring pictures of the victims? And he looked at the guy that came in with the hip-to-shoulder files and said, lay out the pictures. And literally lined my entire dining room table with, how do I say this? With murder scene photos. And I couldn't get away from those fast enough. I said, I don't want to see these. And I, shoved them all together. And
you said, I don't want to see these.
Yeah.
And
because I don't want to see those. I want to see a picture of the girls when they were in school holding their puppy or something. Do you know what I mean? I want to.
Oh, they misunderstood you? And they made out
no,
all those
honey,
crime
they
scene
didn't
photos?
misunderstand. He said to me the same thing the guy on the Hillside Strangler case said to me. Oh, I thought that's what you wanted to see. I looked at him. I said, "Are you kidding?" I said, "Get those out of my house."
Yeah, I was just thinking that, Karen. All of those on your dining room table. Talk about
bad
vibes.
God, I was so I will never forget it. And from then on, when I realized the second time they did the same thing in Houston, I was much more specific about the pictures. I would like one of them holding their puppy, or do you know what I mean? I do not want to see how they were murdered. I already know how they were murdered.
Yes, right. Oh, wow.
And I warned them I told them about this guy. They thought I was completely out of my mind. I told them where to find him.
Tell us everything you told them about him.
Yes. And I told them where to
like.
find him. Yes, and what he did,
there?
what kind of work he did, and what he looked like, and
wow. And then the next, and you kept getting called about working on these cases.
But after,
Karen,
I have to say, wait, I have to say something, okay? There was a time that they finally went, maybe there is something to this. Maybe she is real. And after that, they were very, very nice. And there was no more of treating me like I was the sideshow at a carnival.
Right. Which can get very old, I'm sure.
Oh, well, I look at them and kind of go, really?
Yeah.
You know? But, hey, they'll figure it out. I just work here.
One led to the other, and you kept doing this. And
absolutely.
Why? Or maybe you are still doing this. We haven't even asked you lately. Do you still work with the police on cases?
Oh, of course. Of course.
Are you not? Obviously, you're probably not.
I wouldn't. No, I would not.
How many years after the fact can you then tell about it? Each case?
Whenever I want to, but right now I'm not interested in talking about the things I've worked on more recently.
Okay, so Karen is still doing this. Wow.
I will always do that if I can help. Always.
Oh, wow. Okay, because I was wondering maybe
that's not an option.
Okay, because we just didn't even know. Did you,
Oh, no,
Kelly?
honey, I would never
Kelly,
not
did you
help.
think about? But Kelly, did you even think about this? That what is Karen doing besides Life After Happiness on Tuesdays and Thursdays? I mean, that's 1.5 hours. Okay, that's 5 hours a week. There's a lot of other hours in the week, and we're finding out that Karen's up to something else, aren't we?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Busted.
I kind of had an idea.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
I like my smile. I'm like grinning, like I'm all red, like because I wasn't even thinking.
Well, it's not something that I talk about much.
Wow.
It's not something I usually bring up.
But the cases that you did work on, are those, you know what, my Amazon, I'm never going to do this anymore. I want a tangible book. I want to buy a book. I want to hold it in my hands, and I want to have it. And in fact, especially yours, because when I see you, I want you to sign that book for me. And you can't sign a book that's audio, so I
did do an audio on it.
I know. I'm getting to that, though. I ordered your audio book, remember? And I listened/read it for half of the book. But so I didn't get to everything. So I want to know if people buy your book, which you can get on Amazon.com, are all of these cases that you can talk about, like from the past, are they in the book?
Not all of them. The stories in the book, every word of the book is true. They're all true stories. The Houston slasher case is definitely in the book. And every one of the stories that are in the book are stories about readings that I did that literally changed my life.
Yes. I do remember that really great one where you were telling your really good guy friend to don't drive.
Yep.
Do not drive. And he listened to you. But I was going to ask you, has anybody ever not listened to you when you gave them
God, yes.
a warn? And then, but I mean, a life or death
yes.
instance? And obviously then they died.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely true.
That's so sad.
Honey, I remember the part where I said I realize very clearly I just work here. And you've heard me say it to people on the show. I can only tell you. I can't make you do it.
That's right.
People have to want to.
In every scenario. Life or death. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, you give them this intense, please no, if they're your really good friend, no. Oh, but this is a question because I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm really good friends with Karen Page now. So can I ask
Of course I would
Karen
tell
to
you.
Could I ask Karen to turn up the frequency on my everyday, because
Honey, it is.
I hate to put it in the universe, but there's some bad things
No,
going on.
I
like the school
understand
shooting.
that, but the truth is I'm not worried about you.
And Priscilla.
I'm not worried about you being harmed, honey.
Okay, good. But,
No,
and
that's
Priscilla,
not.
because I was so upset
I'm not,
yesterday with
sweetheart. You don't think for one second I thought there was an issue that Priscilla you needed to be careful of for Priscilla, I wouldn't have told you?
Well, I don't know how. No, that's not it.
Of course I would have told you.
How many people you have the frequency on, and I don't even know if that's the right.
No, it's not like that,
description.
honey. It's so interesting to me. Mine, the reason that I think I probably finally said, okay, I'm doing the work, okay, is because mine never turns off. It is always on.
Okay.
It's not like I have to go sit in a corner and meditate for an hour or do some happy dance in the living room. It's on all the time. When I was a little girl, walking through the market with my mother became a nightmare for me because I was getting all of these experiences washing over me.
Like what exactly? Just
everything
give us
that was going on with people in their lives that I would walk
and
past.
The details of like their worry, you feel it, or you see their vision.
No,
of, like,
honey. Remember the part for me. It's like being there.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not a wow. So this is like you're seeing it visually, feeling it.
No, honey. It is like I'm stepping into their life.
Okay, so you are in them, with seeing through their eyes.
No, you're not It's like I'm walking right next to them in their life.
Okay.
It's not I become them. It's that
no, you're not.
It's like
their
I
eyeballs.
am literally standing next to them.
Wow.
When all of this is happening.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's. I think it's amazing. It's like
I love it. I wish I had that.
Really?
Oh well, be careful what you wish for, right?
Honey,
why not?
you don't understand. The thing that I find interesting is there is a huge responsibility connected to the work.
That's what I keep asking you about, but you seem to handle this so well. But others, what if somebody else is given a gift and they're not as
Sweetheart, I
can't
control what other people do and how they handle things.
But that might not be good, though. Could you say that might not be good?
But you know what? And those are usually the people that wind up not staying in the business very long.
Okay. So when my girlfriends used to say, when I first came to LA and I was working, career woman with all of these other wonderful ladies, they'd say, Barbara, I just found a great psychic. Do you want to go with me? And I said, no. Because what if they're not real? Then I would, waste my money. So then,
you know what? But you find people have to find that out for themselves. I have never advertised. Wait, I hear you, okay? But it is every part of my my business, mine personally, has come from referrals. Every bit of it. I have never advertised. What, dear?
Well, it's funny. When I first bought the book, the top one, I'm going to comment on this, and, the top 100 psychics and astrologers in America. And I talked to you about this, and I said that, it was so funny how many of the psychics, they all brag of, well, I'm number one, and I'm number one in the country. And what I always thought was kind of funny is that you never see a psychic brag about getting number two in a contest, or, oh, I almost did it, and I almost won, and, it was just sort of like, it was amazing how, there was sort of avoiding, it was like everything had to be ranked, if you were ranked or if you were.
That's so weird to me.
I guess what I'm trying to say, actually this is what I'm trying to get to, is I believe, I have my own take on psychics. It's who you connect with. Because being very, very good, in my opinion, is not good enough. Because what happens is that it's one thing to say that, you're very, very good. It's another thing to, say very, very good to make a prediction and then have nobody listen to you. Well, it's like, what's the point? You understand? And Kelly, would listen to you. You see what I'm saying? That's with Barbara, and that's with I. But a lot of people, it's like they hear a prediction, and then they say, oh, well, whatever. You understand what I'm saying?
You know what? But that's their journey, Jonathan. I know very clearly my intentions with people. And generally, most of the people that come to see me that are referred to me, I've been really blessed and get to have lots of long-term clients. And many of them become my friends. So it is, it's so funny. I have grown clients now that I know since they were 3 or 4 years old. And when I say grown, I don't mean 20. I'm talking about really grown, And I find it so fascinating because it's like, wow, where the heck did all that time go? And you do something for so many years, and it feels like it was a minute ago.
Wow.
Wow. I mean, it's when every once in a while, one of my long-term clients will come, and I go, how in the world can you be this grown up? That's impossible. When did you turn 35 or 38 or whatever? And I look at him and go, you were 3 years old running up the hall in my apartment, And it's like, how did you get older and I didn't?
Wow.
It's astonishing to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that to me is, I'm sorry to cut you off, but that to me is more important than, a whatever it is, 100. I understand, or I wouldn't keep getting asked back, or people would not keep making appointments to come and see me over the years and trusting their children with me.
Yes.
Yeah.
To read for their children, It's that to me says everything.
Yeah.
It
So
does.
I don't have a single complaint in the world, you know?
I'm sorry. I feel like probably how Johnny feels when he gets these alerts, from the technical side of things on the show, and you get excited and you're like, oh, and then but somebody's in the middle of something. I am so sorry, Karen. They're major points, and I interrupted you.
No, that's okay, honey. And
but
here we are.
Can I tell you what my alert was?
Sure.
Okay. One of our regular listeners, people, said, I'm sending you a copy of Karen's book. I have had it since before my zoo trip, but have not had the chance to send it. I will by Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's so
Just
sweet.
mentioning it, so you will know it is arriving. Oh, my gosh. Thank you, people, for listening and then taking the extra step by sending me a gift. Oh, wow. It's going to be the best gift. And you know what? This means a lot.
That is very sweet.
Yeah.
And I should also add that we've had people, I've been screening the calls, and, and it's some of them have said, well, did you have a question? No, I'm listening. So,
that's so sweet.
That's
people
cool.
okay with the idea that we're not taking calls today, which is great.
Oh, by the way,
Wow.
Barbara and Kelly,
Yeah?
Nick says hello.
Oh, good. Wow.
Aw,
I'm so
hi.
glad. We're making, friends. My friends become your friends. And
Yep,
this is
one
so
of the
wonderful.
loveliest,
Yeah.
one of the loveliest human beings that ever been born.
Wow.
Yeah. He is so lovely.
He really is. Great guy. And Nick, just so you guys, to refresh your memory, was on our show. He's in the Kansas City Football Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Famer, Nick the Kick.
Well, I would him and Paul Fowler.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sends
Paul
his
Fowler,
hellos to everybody.
Shout out, Paul Fowler's the one who is sending me the book.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Yep. Thank you, Paul. I don't know. I mean, since you said his name, I might as well, say, I think he'd be okay with that, don't you think, Karen?
Absolutely, or I wouldn't have done it. He is
know
so lovely, and he cherishes both of you.
He does, and we cherish him. He sent me the book, too, so you can sign mine.
He is it'd be my pleasure, sweetheart. Isn't he?
You.
I mean, he is so lovely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Paul.
Oh, this is so cool. Yes,
thank you. I've known Paul for like 27 years. He's been my number one loyal fan all these
he is
years.
such a doll.
Oh, he is so nice. Yeah.
That is one of those rare and cherished friendships.
Yeah.
He works in the Coast Guard. He's very
he's amazing.
Very great individual. Wonderful person.
That is the truth.
Paul.
Yeah. Wow.
And thank you, all of you listeners. And so now we're having a little break before our next round of questions. And we would like to say, hey, how do you guys get that book if somebody's not just sending it to you on a whim?
That's hilarious.
Send it to us. Yeah.
That is a riot.
Yeah. And you can get the audio version and your voice. It sounds just like Karen sounds. And
isn't that
so
funny?
perfect. You're talented beyond.
Oh, thanks, sweetheart.
But
I love what I do, and I am so deeply blessed. I thank God every day.
But you do so much, and it's not you love what you do. It's not just readings and living the gift. It is being on this show, and you know what? The way you run the show and how wonderful and smooth and sweet and professional and just there and clear and just concise.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, consummate.
Well, I love working with
amazing
you guys.
professional.
You are a joy.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh my God, are you
Thank
kidding?
you.
I love you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, you love me too.
And this
Yeah.
is a gift to us, and it's just you're an
Yeah.
amazing gift to our show. So thank
Well,
you.
you know that's all on Jonathan.
Oh,
You know?
thank you, Johnny.
He's the one that brought all of us together, and all the lovely callers, and I mean, and listeners. And if it weren't for him, none of us would be here.
That is so
That's
true.
right. Johnny, what do you have to say about that?
That's
He's
great.
doing all of his
I mean,
background stuff. Oh.
yeah,
Good.
but I mean, but I want to show the credit 3 ways. I mean, it evolved into something great with Kelly and Barbara's help. So I think that in Karen's help, I mean, everybody's help. I mean, I've said this.
Well,
it's
you're
great
lovely.
to
You're
have-
so lovely to work with, Jonathan. And I remember from the times before we were doing the show, all of us together, it was like there was, you and you had interviewed me before, and it was like, wow, this is great. And then getting to meet Kelly and Barbara, it was like, oh my God, pinch me. I got 2
Yeah.
sisters.
Yeah.
And the way
Yeah.
Johnny introduced you to me was just, I mean, he's like, oh, you're going to love Karen Page. And I remember that first show. And that was that show that I was at, Offbeat and Unique, just purchasing something. And then it was starting. And back then I was just like a little more like, oh, my show, oh, my show, not as relaxed and used to it. And I was caught there, and I was like, they got another customer, so I couldn't leave yet, right? Because I hadn't purchased my stuff. And I'm like, do you guys mind if I just do my show here? I do a podcast, and I only had
That's actually hilarious.
Oh,
How that happened?
Yeah. And they're like,
Kinda
these two
funny.
young guys, and Brian and Austin, and they were so young, and they said, well, I think it's okay. I go, don't worry. If you get a customer, I'll, put it on mute, and I'll go over there outside or in the corner. And
They're
say, okay.
so sweet.
Oh, Karen,
They are
that was
so
the first
sweet.
show and that was the one that, they fell in love with you, and then they
Well, they're
went and
so
called
sweet.
in.
Yep.
It was wonderful. It was a new beginning of another great thing right there with the Life After Happiness.
Lovely, lovely young men.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That
So
all evolved
it's
so
it's
well.
the family, and Jonathan, you are a rock star.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of
Johnny.
funny because, I mean, I honestly think sometimes, like when Kelly talks about the first day I called her the co-host, she makes it sound like it was the best day of her life.
Well, it feels like it. One of them, for sure. It was like,
Well, let me ask you this. If you had to pick 3 of the best days of your life, which would they be? 3, the top 3.
well, the day I was born. Right.
That's a great start, Kelly.
Love it.
I love
But
it.
It was a little difficult.
Well, and that was
And
an
what's
excellent
the-
beginning.
And what about the other 2?
Well, probably being called co-host and then cementing it, not wondering, did he mean it? When we figured it out, and
Well,
what?
I can tell you psychically he meant it.
Yeah. But you know what? I'd have to say, like, further along on the show, when I'd have to say, like, right now, because we all have this family, and we didn't have that
Yes.
when I just had been called co-host.
Well, you didn't pick
know?
a third day. You didn't pick a third day.
Well, I'd have to say that is to be determined. Because I'd have to say it would probably include something to do with Brian and all of you guys.
Yay!
You know what I think is probably going to be our top? Actually, do you want to know what I think is probably going to be the third day?
What?
You want to know what's going to be the third day?
What?
What do you think it is?
Photo shoot. When we get off the plane, I mean, honestly, this is my honest opinion. And I know that you always say, oh, every show is our favorite and everything. Honestly, that's, I think, going to be the highest of the highs when we all meet each other. Because it's going to be so, like, for the first time, it's not through a phone. It's not a Facebook message. There's no, Kelly isn't going to say, I mean, if I say can't, Kelly's not going to say, no, Johnny, you need to say can't with a comma. She can't do that without you say it.
That's funny.
I mean, it's like we're all going to be sitting around, and it's going to be basically me, Kelly, Karen, and Barbara, and we're all going to be sitting around the room thinking, I can't believe this.
Hanging out, being our groovy selves.
Yeah.
It's just going to be weird. It's going to be really, really weird.
I'll be right there, so I'll be like, okay, well, I guess I'll rewrite it for you, Johnny. I won't be able to hide from you guys because I'll actually be right there. No, that's probably what's going to happen, and that's okay.
Yeah, and Brian
So I
might
think
be
the
there.
third day is going to be the photo shoot. I think the third day is going to be the photo shoot for you.
No, that's what I said. Never know.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to be the highlight for the rest of Kelly's life, the photo shoot.
I think there'll be other highlights too.
Me too.
Just a thought.
Just as a different perspective. Okay, wait, you guys. Okay, I'm not done with the questions, and we have a lot of time left. So, but that was wonderful, and that is part of Karen's life. This is part of Karen's life big time right now, all of us. And thank you, Karen, for loving us.
Oh,
but
God, you guys are so sweet.
Thank you, yeah. And exciting. Where did you grow up? What city?
Los Angeles, California.
You were the coolest kid because that was my dream my whole life.
That's so funny. I was the 5'9.5" excruciatingly shy, with a stutter, and the weird kid that just knew stuff and skipped 2 years in elementary school. Going to school in elementary school, the girl that was taller than anybody else in the school except for one teacher.
5 and 9.
So, yeah.
How fast did you grow? Because a lot of kids, they'll go, be done with the school year and come back the next year.
Oh, no, honey,
like,
I shot up like a weed.
How old were you?
In elementary school.
Like 8, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 9.
Well, I skipped from the 3rd to the 6th.
But that was because of academics.
Yes, of course.
So that didn't matter.
No, so I was 2 years younger than everybody else.
And you were taller.
Taller, incredibly shy, and the weird kid that just knew stuff she shouldn't know.
But wasn't there a part of you that thought, hey, I like being tall. This is cool at all?
You know what? I was so shy, though, that, I mean, and there were these 2 boys in school that decided I was the punching bag.
Oh.
And were not very nice to me. And I know they know who they are now, It's and it's funny because about 10 years ago or so, all of a sudden they crossed my mind. And I thought, where in the heck did that come from? And I remembered their name like it was yesterday. Isn't that funny?
Mhm.
And it's
and
like,
did you always, or that just came to you?
Oh no, I always remembered their names, but it just, that it showed up out of nowhere.
Mhm.
that was pretty funny, and I thought, wow, no matter what, I turned out okay.
Yeah.
And I think to myself, I wouldn't trade a minute of it. Los Angeles has changed dramatically. I went to a school where I was the only white kid in my classes and the only one that didn't notice. Because,
why is that? Why were you in a non-white environment?
Because that's where we were living, and my mother's business was right there, and that was the one in the district, and it was just fine. I didn't have a problem with it. Yeah.
You always were fine with your mom, and you loved your mom, but then you had
oh my God,
she
was.
hand.
My mother was the one person in the world that gave me permission to be exactly who I am.
Oh, wonderful.
So I am so deeply blessed. And I think
that you recognize it.
Yeah, I always did. She was kind to everybody. And I thank God every day. And it's funny, in my book, I dedicated my book to her, and in the book I said, if I had not been blessed enough to have her as my mother, I surely would have chosen her as my friend. Because we were friends.
But it takes a special little girl to realize that, though, Karen, because not a lot of children at a young age have that kind of intellect to really acknowledge that and to treasure that from the very beginning.
Oh, absolutely.
Children have wonderful parents, but they're mean to them. They're nasty, and they don't understand. But you did. You're different.
That's a word. That's definitely a word, sweetheart. Yep, that was me. That's priceless.
Oh, I love that.
That is priceless.
But
I love it.
love that story. Why don't you tell us that story? And I do love this story about how you said mom, mommy, or mama, whatever you did call her, but in your words. Yeah.
When my mother asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, that one.
Yeah.
And I said to her, Mommy, if I can touch one person's life and make it better, I could die tomorrow and I would be happy. And she said, well, we don't want you dying, baby girl. Just remember, man plans and God unplans. And I thank God every day that God unplanned my life. Or I would have been a very unhappy attorney.
That's right.
And God went, nuh-uh.
Oh, that's my favorite little story.
That's
so
the truth. That is the truth.
I imagine your mom leaning down and talking to her little sweet girl and saying those words. And that story has just been so etched in your mind.
Yes. I remember it like it was yesterday. And my mother was very tiny. She was 4'11", and she had these two Amazon daughters. I was 5'9" and a half, and my sister was 5'10".
Wow, really?
Oh,
Did she grow up fast, too? Did you have her in school near you? How many years younger was she?
Oh, no, she was 2 years and 4 months older than I was.
Older. I always get that mixed up.
That's okay.
Because you seem
even though I was the caretaker in the family.
That's why I'm always thinking of you as being older.
Okay. Everybody thought I was older because I was the one that I've always been non-reactive, and it's like I have no interest in drama and carrying on. And if I took in every single reading, everybody's life that I see that didn't belong to me, I would have been in a home banging my head against a wall years ago. Because some of it is heartbreaking, some of it is family stuff that unfortunately we can't fix. That's their journey. And my sister was one of those people that, you know, she just wasn't going to hear anything. And it's like, all righty then. How about them Dodgers, you know?
That was something to live with.
Yeah, well, it was, she didn't realize it, and I'm sure she'd be really upset now if she realized that they were great lessons for me. And I used to ask her, why are you so angry all the time? And she would scream and say, why aren't you? And I said, why would I want to carry all that around?
What would she say?
She would just continue to freak out and scream and carry on. And she was, you know, very even-tempered, always mad.
Is this something that maybe stemmed from her childhood? Because,
sweetheart,
you know what?
Wait. Yes, it did stem from her childhood. From the minute my mother brought me home, Lindsay was trying to find ways to get rid of me. So, yes.
Oh, okay.
And didn't play well with others.
This
you know?
isn't something that just passed, because when I was brought home, my brother, of course, you know, he was a year and a half older. He pulled me off the couch. He twisted my fingers when they said, oh, look at her long, sweet, beautiful fingers, and he grabbed them and twisted them until they were blue. But that passed, and we became the best friends.
Yeah, that didn't happen. My sister, I finally had to stop having her anywhere in my life because she was trying to find ways to push me down a flight of stairs. And I'm not sure if it was the 10th or 12th way. She told me she wished I were dead, pounding on the dashboard of my car, that I finally believed her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This was intense. This was an intense thing for you growing up.
Well, it was a great learning experience for me. And part of it was I could have, if I were a different human being, I could have been angry and mean-spirited and combative, just like she was. I mean, my mom used to jokingly say she could piss off the Pope, you know, because she just was angry all the time. It didn't take anything.
But how did your mom deal with that, though? Having to be somewhat like a referee, or, I mean, how did your sister take it?
No, sweetheart. She tried really hard to help my sister, but Lindsay just was, she wouldn't let anybody help her. And, you know, I always say being happy is a choice. It's an inside job. And we can make a choice to either learn from our experiences, which I did. I learned exactly what I never wanted to be in my life from my sister. Or I could become like her and be completely unhappy. And now that she is gone, I pray to God that she found some peace and some happiness in the next world. Because she was not happy as a human being.
Do you know that she has found that? Did you say that just now?
That she crossed over?
But do you see if she's happy over there or not?
No, I am. It's very interesting because I have. I get visitors all the time from all the people I've known that have gone, that I've loved, and I loved my sister, but we were never natural friends. And I always found it very interesting that we were so disconnected in this life that even in the next world, she never came for a visit. I've never never dreamt of her. I've never had her come to visit.
I wonder what would have happened. I mean, let me ask you this: what do you think would have happened? You know, I know you were a fan of John Edward. I mean, what if John Edward had offered to contact her?
Well, he doesn't do that. It's what he's very, very clear about who shows up and describes them. But I highly doubt. I mean, my mother's come to see me just about every day. I dream about her. She's been with me all over the world, and my mother will be gone 38 years at Christmas. And I've never had a day alone in my life.
I love that story about the dishwasher.
Honestly, every time I think about it, it makes me want to burst out laughing. And when I had the bakery, and my mother lined up these big stainless steel bowls that I had that had been on a very high shelf, and the bowls that were inside them, were still up on the shelf.
That can be very loud.
Yeah, it was so funny. I remember opening the back door, and they were lined up like little soldiers down the center of the bakery kitchen.
Oh, wow.
And my ex-husband went, "What? How did those get there?" And I looked at him, and I was laughing. I said, "My mom put them there."
Oh, my gosh. That is so cool.
Oh, she had the funniest. She was hilarious. She had a great sense of humor.
I love it. And it's so true that you've never had a lonely day in your life. She is
never,
so close
honey.
to you.
When
you have
when the
a better relationship with her than most people do if the person is not passed.
Well, we were always friends. I mean, it's funny because the doctor that delivered me was my very first doctor, and I went to see him when I was a teenager, and he looked at me and he said, "Wow, you haven't changed a bit." And I just started laughing because he hadn't seen me since he delivered me. I said, "Except I'm a little taller now, right?" And he said to me, "Do you know what your mother said to you when I put you in her arms the first time?" And I said to him, "I'm sure it would come to me, but I have a feeling that I was probably preoccupied with other things when I was born." And he said, "Oh, of course." And he said, "She kissed you on the forehead and looked in your eyes and said, 'There you are.'"
Oh, I love that. Oh.
And his expression, he said, "I'll bet you are like two fingers on a hand." I said, "Yes."
Wow.
I said,
That
"We are
is
very,
amazing.
yeah." I mean, and I can't recall in my life. I don't scream and carry on and get angry, and my mother and we always had a lovely time just going for a cup of coffee somewhere, or sitting by the beach, driving by the beach and sitting at the beach just talking. And all my friends adored my mother. And when my mom passed away, 125 of my friends were at my mother's service.
Wow.
And crying as hard as I was. So I don't have a single complaint in this life. And it's so interesting because Kelly's heard me say this, and I'm sure you have and Jonathan have, we're not our bodies.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, when you love somebody, it's really about their character and their nature and a connection that is really undefinable. And yeah, there's the ooh baby stuff, and that's all beautiful, being attracted to each other. But there's much more to it than that. And when your souls connect, that is that undefinable thing. How do you explain that being put together with somebody that is the perfect match? It doesn't mean you're not going to learn things from each other. But it's not painful. It's not angry.
That's a soulmate.
Yes, and it's not only that you love them, but you like them as human
Yes.
beings.
So important.
Yeah.
That's what my dad always says.
It is critical.
You don't just love Priscilla, you like her. And he
Yes.
went to her and he said the same thing, and he goes, do you know the difference? And, you know, it was really important for him to make his point with that. It's so true.
It is very true, and it's if you look at your friends, okay? And I have friends that I've been very blessed. I have friends that have been in my life since we were little puppies practically. And we have been close since the day I met them. Their children are like my children. Their parents are like my parents. I would do anything for them. And they are the sisters and brothers that I never had. And
That's right.
I wouldn't, and I'm close to their spouses and girlfriends or boyfriends because I love and respect healthy, loving relationships. And it doesn't mean you can't have a grumpy day. It's that
right.
I've said it, you know, the things that I learned as a child were any kind of abuse, verbal or physical, is a deal breaker. If somebody lies, if somebody cheats, there's nothing to talk about. It's like next, and don't let the door hit you in the butt on the way out. Huh?
You know, it makes life easy. So that's what we're trying to instill in people with this show is
because it shouldn't be that complicated and waiting for somebody to be different than who they are. First of all, why are you with them? Or if somebody wants you, you know how I always jokingly say, if you want somebody that's taller, shorter, thinner, fatter, blonder, somebody that goes, hi, hon, you want peas or mashed potatoes, you big, strong guy? How was your day? You know, and everything is, and if it's a husband and the wife is the one that's going, get me this and do that, and you know what I mean? It's like, what the heck are you doing? If there is, well, either way, and there's, what are they getting out of that relationship? I'm not talking about stuff. I'm talking about what emotional need does that abusive behavior feed? What is that the 6-year-old in you that was taught you're never going to be enough?
That's right. But when you say you love all of your friends and all of their new wives and husbands and spouses and all that is because there are certain people that are out there that are afraid of change, and they see, oh, that's my best friend, and now, oh, it can change, so I'm afraid of it, so, oh, I'm going to attack it. No, that's such a shallow way to be.
Well, not only that, but
open their minds up.
It's people getting stuck at a certain point in their life and not real. I mean, I'm sorry, if anybody looks in the mirror, you know, we all look at a picture of you when you were 5 years old, okay, and then look at a picture of you now. That same person lives inside of there. That little girl still lives inside. But what did she learn through the journey?
The way you explain it, it really touches people, though, Karen. You have a way about you, which is absolutely amazing.
That's very sweet of you. But I really care. I think everybody can make the choice to be happy. Have we all been in awful relationships? Oh, yeah, we could sell tickets for that, you know. But did we learn anything from it? We have all lost people that we love. You know, the nice part is we had them in our lives. Yeah. And we have a million memories.
That's right. Karen, I want to ask you one more question about your life. There's so much more.
Sweetheart.
We could go on for hours and hours. But
ask me.
It just kind of struck me when you were talking about being raised with that sister of yours. Oh, my goodness. And But then I was thinking, but Karen traveled all around the world. And not only that, we've all traveled. Well, some have traveled, some haven't. Some have traveled, but you have actually lived abroad in so many different places.
True.
Can you just tell us, how did that, I mean, how old were you? Did you say, well, I mean, here's your mom that is like the most wonderful mother, and you're like,
that's
totally
the truth.
2 peas in a pod.
That is the truth.
How did you just say, hey, Mom, I got to go. I'm going to go live in, I think, did you live in Australia? I'm going to go live in.
Wait a minute. No. I always kept a place in Los Angeles. And for a long time, I lived between here and New York. I lived in the Mayflower Hotel for almost 5 years.
Wow, New York, and you were young.
Yes. Oh, my God, I love New York. And I was doing the morning show with Regis Philbin every other month for almost 3 years.
Wow. That is amazing.
Yeah, and I did probably a couple of hundred radio shows on ABC Radio in New York, call-in radio.
So approximately what year was that when you had that
I
New
would
York
say, yeah, in the 80s.
Oh, and
mid-80s.
That time in the 80s were the
late
best.
the 80s through the 90s, yeah.
So what were you
and
like
then,
as a
and
young
then,
woman on the town in New York, 5 freaking 9?
Oh my God, I had an amazing. I haven't missed a thing, and 2 of my favorite cities in the entire world are New York and London. And I've lived in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Berkeley, Houston, New York, London, Paris. I'm the girl from the song. London, Paris, Munich. I used to go to Kitzbühel, Austria every winter, and for a girl that never skied, I used to go mountain wandering in the snow.
Mountain wandering.
Mountain wandering. Oh, by the way, and I have no gift for languages. When God was handing that out, he said, "Get behind the door, Karen. You're never going to need that." You know. And I've also lived in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Wow.
And all of it has been because of my work. And I kept, for a long time, I was bi-coastal between here and New York. And then it became Los Angeles, New York, and wherever else in the world I was living.
Wow, this is amazing. So your work has really taken you all around the world.
Absolutely. And I have clients and friends all over the world. And I've always said this, if it ended tomorrow, I haven't missed a thing.
But we're about out of time.
No,
we know
it
you
ain't
haven't.
so, Jonathan. Oh.
There should be a part 2. You do part 2.
Places you've lived, that'll be that Karen Page is part 2.
Well, we'll do
How
that.
How does that sound?
That sounds fun.
What?
Yeah.
I said all of the exotic places Karen has lived, that'll be Karen Page interview part 2.
But when are we going to do part 2?
It is. We'll
soon.
pick a day.
We'll pick a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And the remote viewing.
Show.
Oh, yeah,
viewing
remote
would be
viewing.
cool.
I helped develop that. Yep.
That would be cool.
Oh.
That's
yes.
very
Okay,
interesting.
and
Well, I love you guys.
Tomorrow we're doing.
Love you guys.
Tomorrow we're doing a retrospect of where we've been, of how what's of like talking over past shows.
Oh, that's
And,
wonderful.
Our thoughts and our feelings, and how we've
I can't wait
evolved
to hear that.
Thank you.
And also,
and thank you so much, Karen, for being our special interview subject. We love you. And
well, I love you guys.
The blessing.
Do
Yeah.
the shout out, Kelly.
everybody.
I mean, Barbara.
Thank
Do
you,
the
sweetheart.
shout out, Barbara. Do the shout out, Barbara.
Okay. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube at Life, Laughter, Happiness and support us. Thank you guys for listening, and thank you all of our wonderful listeners out there. A special thanks to Paul for, thinking of sending me Karen Page's book, which you can find
He's an
on
angel.
Amazon. And to connect with Karen directly, go to KarenPage.com. Love you guys.
I love you.
Love you. Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, Karen.
Yeah,
Good
thank
night, Kelly.
you. Good night.
Good night, you sweetheart.